in the new year, where dreams take flight, and the city's glow both day and night. Skyscrapers rise, touch the sky. In New York's heart, I'll reach so high. The streets alive, a constant hub with endless tales in every slum. From Central Park to Broadway's lights, New York awakens wondrous sights. In cafes quaint and bustling bars, underneath the sky of stars, the city's pulse, a rhythmic beat. In every corner life we meet, I dream of Times Square's vibrant glow, of avenues where currents flow, in galleries and hidden nooks, stories found in countless books. In New York where I belong, I yearn to walk those busy streets where every turn a new dream greets. I wanna feel that city's fire, a place that sparks unending desire. Oh New York, I'm bound to see the life you hold, my destiny. In cafes quaint and bustling bars, underneath the sky of stars, the city's pulse, a rhythmic beat. In every corner life we meet, I dream of Times Square's vibrant glow, of avenues where currents flow, in galleries and hidden nooks, stories found in countless books. In cafes quaint and bustling bars, underneath the sky of stars, the city's pulse, a rhythmic beat. In every corner life we meet, I dream of Times Square's vibrant glow, of avenues where currents flow, in galleries and hidden nooks, stories found in countless books. In cafes quaint and bustling bars, underneath the sky of stars, the city's pulse, a rhythmic beat. In every corner life we meet, I dream of Times Square's vibrant glow, of avenues where currents flow, in galleries and hidden nooks, stories found in countless books.
14th Street, 23rd Street, and 33rd Street.
Trade Center. The next stop is Newport. Change there for the train to
closing door.
here for the train to Newark. Across the platform.
Please step on and off this escalator with care. Do not run or walk while riding this escalator.
The first attack happened.
¿Quién no se fue?
Says if you see a sign with a look against the name, great means that somebody was there as a result of the attack. No, it's not recorded in the
fotoğraf.
slum. From Central Park to Broadway's lights, New York awakens wondrous sights. In cafes quaint and bustling bars, underneath the sky of stars, the city's pulse, a rhythmic beat. In every corner life we meet. I dream of Times Square's vibrant glow, of avenues where currents flow, in galleries and hidden nooks, stories found in countless books. Strong in New York where I belong. I yearn to walk those busy streets where every turn a new dream greets. I wanna feel that city's fire, a place that sparks unending desire. Oh New York, I'm bound to see